Hi there, welcome to Floating in Dreams. This is my Cool Tone Palette Roundup. Welcome to everybody watching today. Thank you so very much for joining me. I actually decided to do eyeshadow palette week this week because I was like, you know what? I haven't done anything sort of like dedicated to eyeshadow palettes in a while, and I had some really good video ideas, so I was like, I'm gonna do eyeshadow palette week in November because I like doing these little like themed weeks once a month. I do drugstore week or K-beauty week or indie palette week or whatever it is that I want to do. And so if you have any ideas of themed weeks that I can do in like 2026, things you may want me to just do anyways because you've seen me do them already, or maybe you have a brand new idea, I don't know. But this week it's going to be eyeshadow palette week, and something I like to do every once in a while whenever I feel I've tested out enough cool toned eyeshadow palettes is do a little capsule review for them so that you have all of the cool tone reviews in one place. I did already review all of these palettes, so we'll have loads of links in the description box down below. So if you want to see looks and swatches that I've done with all of these, you can find it elsewhere. So I'm just going to chat to you about these palettes, tell you about the pros and cons of each one, and just sort of have these things like gathered in one place for you, and that way you can hopefully have an idea of what cool tones are out there. I feel we didn't get as many cool toned releases this year. So it definitely was a little while. Like before I was able to do them like every 3 months or so. And I was checking the other day, and the last time I did this was April. I was like, oh. So I was going through my eyeshadow palette collection and going like, oh, what palettes are like newer to me that I've tested out since April? And I was like, oh, there aren't that many. So I think there's like 8. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I was right, 8. 8 palettes, and some of these aren't even that cool tone neutral. Let's chat. Something that is definitely falling into that cool tone neutral sort of category is something that I picked up through YESSTYLE. This is by Gellas. This is their Color Phantom Chameleon eyeshadow palette in shade M04. And I like testing out a couple of like K-beauty, J-beauty, C-beauty brands every single year. This was a brand I had never heard of before, and I saw this and I was like, I think I might like that. Do you see those shimmers? We have 2 mattes here, a purple and a gray, and then we have 2 multi-chrome shifty shimmers that have a satin formula. They are satins, and still they are shifty and high shine. But the way they feel and the way they apply equals the application of a satin formula. I don't know how they do this, but this is one of the reasons why I like trying out all of these Asian beauty brands, because I just feel that that's where the innovation is at the minute, and that a lot of Western brands are actually just copying the Chinese brands. I definitely feel that way. But yeah, this is something else. You can see that shift. This shade is so beautiful. And then this really beautiful, it looks white gray in the pan, but it's got this subtle pinky lavender sort of shift to it. If you love a cool tone, if you like an interesting shimmer, this was expensive-ish. Like for 4 shades, it was like 25 euros, I think. And I did get it while there was a deal on. YESSTYLE does deals all the time. Like if you're shopping Black Friday, then definitely check out YESSTYLE because they usually do some really good deals around that time. But yeah, I would highly recommend this if you want a cool tone palette, but you want something that's not going to crease on you, but that does have the fun shimmers. Try this. And it's really nice and curated. I even like the packaging. It has this really nice, almost like holographic sort of element to it. Really unsuspecting, like just surprise to me this year. That was like, oh, that's a really good palette. Yes, pricey, but really beautiful. And then this year, I had to get myself some Viseart. I actually I'm thinking of buying some more Viseart palettes for Black Friday. I know, I don't need any more. But the Praline, the Midsummer, and that new Paris edit that they did, they turned the little 8-pan palette for the Paris Étoile into a 12-pan. They're still sort of calling my name, so I'm like, should I get them? I don't know. But they did 2 cooler tone things that I got. I got the Lilas Lumière Étendu. They did a Lilas Petit Four. They did 2 of them, Lilas 1 and Lilas 2. I have both of those. I really like them. Do I like this palette more than I do the 2 4-pans that I have? No. Like the 4 pans better. Especially the first Lilas. I know I can rip off the paper, but this formula is pretty powdery and it's a pretty dark purple palette. And I just know this is going to be a mess. So I keep the paper in. Okay? Let me live. It definitely has elements of both of those quads in here, I feel. It's sort of like if you added up the 2 4 pans and then added in a couple of rosy tones. That's what you get here. The thing with Viseart palettes is that they're never truly cool tone, though. They always have a mix of warm, cool, and neutral in every palette that they do. I do feel that overall, this is one of the more cool toned options they've created in recent years. This is why this one goes into this palette. Is this a truly 100% cool tone palette? No. I'm very aware. I would have to take this bronzy thing out. You would have to take this pinky thing out because that's quite warm as well. Like there's 3 shades in here that I would dub more of a warm tone than a cool tone, but everything else is neutral to cool. Really stunning, really pretty. It's the Viseart formula that I know I love, but I tried this and the other palette I'm showing you today. I bought 4 of them in, what was it, Memorial Day sale or something like that through the Viseart website. And I also tried the Cyranus, and the Cyranus isn't even close to being a cool tone palette, but that was my favorite of 4. I also got the Paris Reverie. Yes, that's one I got, and I got the Cyranus, and the Cyranus was my favorite of the 4. It's an absolute stunner of a palette. Is this beautiful as well? Yes. Is it too similar to the 2 4 pans I already own? Also, yes. So if you already own Lila 1 or Lila 2, maybe don't get this. And if you want just the cool tones, just get the Lilas Petit Four. Just Petit Four Lilas, the original one. Because that's going to give you the 4 cool tones that you also get in this palette. But you just have the cool tones. Makes sense, right? The other thing I got is the Petit Matte Cool Original. I tried the other Petit Cool Mattes that they do, which they did after this actually originally came out. Because this is the small version of the original cool tone palette. So back when the brand got started, they did like huge palettes first, I believe. And then we got those 12 pans with the clear lids. They still do them, but those were pricey. I had one, Sultry Muse, I think it was called. And it just had the clear lid and it had 12 shimmers and they were all satin shimmers and they all did the same thing. And I didn't like that one at all. But at the time, the warm neutrals one was very hyped up. And they did a cool neutrals as well. But now they're doing a lot of their older palettes in this like flap style cardboard packaging with the magnetic pans, smaller sizes, and therefore a little less expensive. I tried the other cool mattes that they have and they decluttered it. It's one of the very few Viseart things that I've cluttered over the years because it just didn't really come together for me. Everything pulled gray. It wasn't a good look. It was all matte. I don't really need a lot of all matte palettes because I prefer shimmers, but I like having 1 or 2 of them on hand to have something. This is what I wanted the other Petite Cool Mattes to be for me. It's got taupey browns. We all know I like a taupey brown. It's got some really nice gray tones in, but you can actually see the undertones on me. So this is a little bit more of a purpley gray. This is a little bit more of a blue tone gray. This is like a deeper charcoal gray. Even the deepest shade isn't like a true black. It's more of like a very deep gray shade. So pretty. The blue and the purple, they're a little bit difficult to get the payoff that you want. That's one gripe that I have with it. But they're really fun as like liners or on a lower lash line to add that pop of color. If I think of like a fun, small, curated, all matte palette that I can always use to tie any look together if I need it, this is the thing I wanted it to be. So for me, this was more successful than the other one I used to own, but it's an all matte palette. I don't love all matte palettes all that much, really. Then, some more Sea Beauty then for one of the smaller things that I tried this year. I discovered Cheeryep last year. I tried the Fleeting Life or Floating Life and the Jump for Joy. And then I discovered Steelheart. the packaging is this very sort of matte reflective gray silver. And inside you get a stunning, cool toned neutral palette with pops of pink. Stunning. This is absolutely gorgeous. I wish it had slightly more shimmers. I feel like the Fleeting Life has more shimmers than this has. But look at it again. Oh, if my camera will focus. It's so beautiful. And it's got these like neutrally browns in, and then just some gray tones, and then these like pink tones like thrown in the mix. Nothing here is warm. You get beautiful shimmers to pair it with. It just really comes together. So this was a beautiful one. I do still think though that the most unique one I have is the Fleeting Life. I got the Jump for Joy because I wanted some really fun like bright pink tones, and that one definitely has it. And I feel like this is the more neutral tone version of the pink one that I have. So if you're more into neutrals, then this one is perhaps best. I think this is a great palette to like dip your toe in. Cheeryep has also gotten a little bit cheaper over time. We usually find brands that just keep doing more expensive things. But Cheeryep started doing these like really big 170 euro palettes. And also the Fleeting Life. When I first saw it being promoted, it was 45 euros. But now all of these palettes retail for 25. I don't know what's going on there, but yeah, Steelheart by Cheeryep, an excellent one. If those are your colors, you're gonna love that palette, let me tell you. And then we have some indie brands left. Again, a palette where I'm like, yeah, it can fit into a cool tone palette video. I'm not sure how cool toned it actually is. As far as I remember, I tried this out for you guys in May, so I wasn't able to include it yet in my April video, but this is the Creme de la Creme by Glam Shop. Glam Shop is a Polish indie brand, and they do some stunning things. This does have a like rosy, like this looks a little bit peach and like rosy tones in, but they weren't overly warm toned, I'd have to say. But most of this is like these really pretty sort of minky brown tone taupey things with like some gray tones thrown into the mix with some silvers. This is beautiful. It's the Glam Shop formula I know I love. And one of the things that I enjoy about this palette is that the shimmers in here aren't too overdone. Very often with indie brands, we get these really flaky shimmers. They crease really badly. These are like, I would call them satin metallics. So a bit like with Gellas, where you get satin multichromes, these are really impactful shimmers, but they apply like a satin. They wear like a satin, and yet they are super impactful. So this is really a great recommendation if you have more mature lids, if you're looking for good mattes, lovely shimmers. And in here, yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 shimmers, 8 mattes. So a really nice blend of those mattes and shimmers. And it's got those pinky tones in, which can be a fun, like, pop of color. So, again, not super cool tone, and I feel that that's actually the case with some of these other brands as well. But yeah, this is a really wonderful palette. I really enjoyed using this one. And it actually goes with all the other palettes I'm about to show you. I just did a ranking on Tuesday as part of Eyeshadow Palette Week, and, like, 2 of these were in the top 5 of that ranking, so you know I love these already. Timeless Tones by Glamatrix. This is a beautiful color story. It's not very neutral. It's more of a cool tone color story, but it's not super neutral. If that's what you're looking for, I would skip this, but I think this can be a really pretty palette for those of you who have your cool tone neutrals down and you want to add fun pops of color without it being too on the nose and having cool shimmers in, because these shimmers are what makes the palette. Essentially, you get this like neutrally gray row, we get blues, we get greens, and we get true sort of like cooler tone neutrals, browns in the top row. Really pretty. Every single row has a topper and a mid-tone shimmer to really tie the look together. You have a little bit of a gradient of mattes to again tie the shimmers together. The only shade I don't understand is this. In my brain, it should have been a light blue to tie in with the blues, or to be a little bit deeper so that it's a true taupey brown. This was a little bit weird, you could say. Or what also would have worked in my brain if this had been blue and this would have been here and then we didn't get the beige. Because the beige doesn't add much. Because essentially, like, I do feel that in this row, this or this, interchangeable, this, it's all pretty light. So maybe good if you have fair skin, I don't know. Or if you're just afraid of deep shades. Of course, we do get really deep shades here, but those can be liners. If you're very fair skinned, these will make for really good liners. That's how I use these really deep tones anyways myself as well. So yeah, this is a wonderful palette. I really enjoy it. It's the Glaminatrix formula that I know and love. I would have made slightly different choices with some of the mattes in that lighter row, like I said. But other than that, this is an excellent palette. And I think a really fun addition to a cool toned arrangement if that's what you have going on in your life. Because these are just a little bit more fun and a little bit different from other like cooler tone palettes on the market. Not sure it's still available though. That's been an issue with a lot of my Glaminatrix palettes where I then see them say things on Instagram going like, this is going to be discontinued. We only have 100 units left. And I'm like, oh. Makes it difficult as a consumer to know like what to get when and to be able to budget for things. I think that's, especially with how expensive some indie brand palettes are, they're just continuously releasing products. And then as a consumer, it can just be so hard to keep up because by the time you have the funds to spend the money on it, you can no longer buy that palette you wanted because it was already discontinued. And with like these indie brands just charging more and more, I'm like, oh, why is this going on? Why is this happening? Oh well. Then we have Magnetic Mineralia. This is one of my favorite palettes of the year. It's so unique, it's so fun, it's so different. It's by Rune Cosmetics. I love this snake design and how all the colors in the front are represented on the palette in like what you get inside. Some really fun gray tones in here, like lighter purpley tones as well, very cool toned. Of course, you do get these like yellows, and yellows are never going to be cool tones, but I really feel they add a little extra layer to this palette that otherwise would make it very light and very boring, because this is a pretty light palette if you look at it. So again, if you have fair skin like me, you may really like this. And if you like something that, again, has a little bit more interest, this would be my pick. Again, you do need to have your neutral, like cool tone neutral game down before purchasing this. I wouldn't make this your first cool tone purchase. I would not. I have a recommendation coming up that I think is a little bit better for that. But if you want fun shimmers, you want something different, you want some purpley, yellowy sort of accents that you can do, then this, I think, is a really nice, excellent pick. So choose your poison. Pick your poison. This is what I've been saying a lot in a lot of my recent videos. Go for this if you like blues and greens. Go for this if you do like those purpley yellow tones that it has. So I feel like both of the palettes kind of fit into a same sort of category in my brain, but they do different things because they do have different colors in and a slightly different formula. So pick your poison. If your brain was going between these two, pick one. You definitely don't need both. You don't need both. We don't need more eyeshadow in our lives anyways, right? We've got plenty. If I wasn't doing this for YouTube, I wouldn't have this much for sure. But I think one of the ultimate cool toned releases that we've been having this year is a Smolder by Cosmic Beauty. The minute this launched, I was like, yep, I need to try this. Sadly, I was only able to do one look with it, but this is going to make another appearance on the channel. I'm going to bring it back in December to do the remainder looks, because look at this. Again, there is a little bit of warmth in this like peachy brown sort of thing going on there, but I'm very curious to see what they're going to look like, because I did use some of the browns and the grays in this sort of quadrant here, and this was really cool toned on me. It was a really good cool toned taupey brown, and that's how when I was swatching it, it also looked. You get some true grays in here, but you also get some browns that have a lot of gray in them. So I'm curious to see, will these pinky peachy tones have a bit of gray in them as well? And they look like they might. They look like they might. So really interesting shimmers in here as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of them. Yeah, some really lovely things that are in here. I can't wait to play with this a little bit more. Cosmic Beauty is, of course, one of my favorite formulas anyways. And this formula does feel consistent with what they've been doing in the past. So I'm really happy to say that. But yeah, so far, so good. I think this is one of the best cool tone neutral releases we've had all year. So there's that. I did see, I don't know what happened there because it wasn't on their Instagram, but I was checking out Gloss Gods because very often around Black Friday time, Gloss Gods has a new drop, and their newest drop is a 15 pan cool tone palette. So guess what I'm going to be buying for like the coming season, you could say. I don't know whether it's going to be here on time for my December Shop My Stash, but it's definitely something that's on the wish list. So hope you like to stay tuned for that. Of course, I'm going to continue testing out cool tone palettes, but like I said, I don't feel we got that many this year. What's going on? Like, cool tones were having a moment, and now it's sort of like not being a thing all that much anymore. But yeah, I do love a good cool tone. We all know that, and I'm going to continue loving on them, and I'm going to continue doing these videos as long as you keep watching them. So I really hope you enjoyed watching this video today. Thumbs it up if you liked it. Subscribe if you want to see more by me. I do make regular content here on the channel anyways, 4 times a week over here, once a week on the second channel, which is Floating in Books, and I have a blog where I post a lot of reviews and do swatches and do all of that. So you can catch me somewhere daily if that's what you're looking for. So thanks so much for being here today, and then I hope to see you again really, really soon in a new video. Bye-bye!